Hey there, this is Dr. John Whitcomb talking about postpartum depression, and it's the same disease as autism. Let me see if I can convince you. General principle of biology is that the fetus gets fed pretty reliably, and mom is the source of that food. Because the fetus is growing so rapidly, it creates a gradient across the placenta, and so nutrients go downhill, and that kind of sucks mom dry of the nutrients she needs. And that means if there's critical nutrients that are lacking, and mom doesn't have them, the baby's not going to get enough of them. Okay, that's a general principle. And then the human brain got so big because there's a huge evolutionary advantage to having a big brain. We started eating meat and our brain started getting bigger, but the human pelvis didn't. So the exit for a baby didn't get any bigger, and so humans had to evolve by giving birth to a baby with a really immature brain. It's hardly been myelinated at all. And myelination is the process of adding layers and layers and layers of lipid membrane around axons, the fibers that connect all the neurons in your brain. And the more layers of myelin, the faster conduction speed is. A newborn baby has a conduction speed of about 1 meter per second. A 45-year-old adult has a conduction speed of 100 meters a second, 100 times faster. You can tell a newborn doesn't have its nerve fibers hooked up yet, because when it's born, its eyes don't make eye contact with mom. Its eyes are a little wandering around. It takes about 2 weeks for them to be hooked up, for the brain to figure out what fibers are conducting electricity and frantically myelinating it so it starts conducting. And sure enough, at the 2-week mark, the baby locks on vision on mom. Mom goes crazy. Grandparents go crazier. Bonding happens. Baby survives. Wonderful. That's what's meant to happen with nature. But that myelination process makes the brain much bigger. And within the first month, the baby's brain, its skull size increases almost an inch. From 13 3/4 up to 15 inches. That's huge. Mom looks at the baby and wonders how on earth she gave birth to that thing. What happens if mom is deficient in plasmalogens? And what would be a deficiency disease? Let's look at a deficiency disease called ADHD. Did you know that women who have ADHD have a much higher risk of having postpartum depression? Interesting. Did you know that women who have postpartum depression have a much higher incidence of having children who have ADHD or autism? Okay, because they didn't have the plasmalogens to pass on, to provide to their children. And that's because mom and infant are one shared ecosystem. They both have to make do with how many plasmalogens there are. And if mom shows up with a limited supply, as evidenced by her having ADHD, then she won't have the necessary plasmalogens to pass on to her infant. And as long as she's breastfeeding, she's going to continue to have her plasmalogen supply severely taxed. Did you know that the longer a woman breastfeeds, the lower her risk of ADHD or autism in her children? That shared ecosystem goes on as long as a mom is breastfeeding. And then the infants or the children bear the consequences down the road. What will work for me? I think we could end postpartum depression completely if every woman was given Prodrome Glia for 2 weeks prior to delivery. Prodrome Glia is what's in mother's breast milk. You can't possibly be allergic to it. And then she'd have sufficient plasmalogens to pass on to her baby. And her brain would have enough that she wouldn't get sucked dry. And I have a nickel that says we would end autism. Any mother who wants to have a baby without ADHD and autism should be on Prodrome Glia for the last month of her pregnancy and as long as she's breastfeeding, and should have her baby on them too, so that they have abundant supplies. A newborn child has a massive deficit of plasmalogens, and anything to help with increasing that supply is going to be beneficial. That's why if you have children who are just very vulnerable because they've got very little myelin in their brains, and a little bit of oxidative stress puts them over the edge. So you have a vaccine to a 3-year-old, that little bit of oxidative stress sets them off, and then you have an autistic kid and you claim it's the vaccine that did it. It wasn't the vaccine that did it. It was the unbelievably horrible deficit of plasmalogens that did it. And the tiny bit of oxidative stress added by the vaccine just was the tipping point. Vaccines are a miracle of modern medicine, but now we understand the mechanism. And it's also fair to not degrade those folks who've seen that event happen to their children. But mother and child are one ecosystem, and we can fix both of them with Prodrome Glia. This is Dr. John Whitcomb for News and Nutrition. I'd love to hear from you if you want some help with it. Talk to you.